object. Fine. So if you just go ahead and create a relationship field on the parent object, it will not work. It should be on the child object. So before you create this relationship field, identify which is the parent, which is the child, go to the child object, create the relationship field. That's it. Nothing else is required. Got that? Okay.
Jay, this is Viksham.
Yes, Viksham.
When you're creating a relationship between two objects, that means two tables, and I mean in Oracle, they should, there are some certain rules that, but do they have any rules in this? Like in the database, the column data type should be same, and those kind of some rules. So, but here I don't see the common column between these two objects.
What are the rules? Sorry?
At least one simple rule is, for example, let's say you have a job table and also company table. So you created a relationship between these two tables. So when you're joining these two tables, there should be at least one column common. Common means at least data type should be common.
Right. Very
but
good
here
question.
I don't see any column.
Very good question. No, so because you do not have that column, that is the reason why you created the column, which is the common column actually. So this column will hold that relationship. Okay. So the column that you create in the child object, this goes and it at the back end it holds the ID of the company. So that column becomes a common column. You don't get to understand that, or you don't get to see it that way. In Oracle, you get to see it more in the in front of you. But here things are hidden from you. They have tried making things simple, but yeah, backend logic works in the same way.
So here in the company table, I don't see that column name. So
yeah,
that's the reason.
That is the thing. You will not see that thing, but this field there is a field called ID field, okay, which is available for all the objects that you have created, all the Salesforce standard objects as well as custom objects, which is not visible to you. So you don't see this, but there must be some unique record identifier for all the records from the Salesforce side, right?
Okay.
So
but in the future, let's say we are sorry. Let's say in the future, when we are developing a custom application in Force.com platform, so let's say there are 10-15 tables. So you want to write a query to pull the data from the different objects. So in this case, like you need to know that what is the columns when you're joining joining tables. So I'm kind of confused, like how you know that, but now we have 1 or 2 tables, then you know that, but in the future we might have like 50-100 tables. So how do you know which one is related to which one, what table, and what is the column name of that, like when you're joining these 2 tables?
Okay, very good question. So how do you get to know that in Oracle? If you have 100 tables, how do you get to know that? There's some automatic mechanism, or let me ask the question. There's some automatic mechanism, or you always have to either keep a track of which all fields you have created, what is the name that you have given there, and you have to go and check the name of the field.
Yes, yeah. Usually we have a ER diagram, that entity relationship diagram. So it shows that like now. When you pull the tables, it shows that what are the columns, between these 2 tables. Otherwise, we can see and go and manually look at the tables.
You're right.
So when you open the table, when you open the table, when you look at that, what is the foreign key of this table? You can see that it will tell that what is the foreign key, what is the table name of this, what is the parent table of this, table, child table. It will use the table name dot column name, so that we will pick that column.
Very good. So nice question. Now, is there a way in Salesforce where you can see where all the columns are listed for a particular object? Forget about relationship. forget about relationship. If I want to go and see what all fields are there in job object, is there a way that we can see that?
Yeah, we can see all the objects in that.
So there only we will get to see the relationship field also. Yes or no? If I go to my jobs object, it will show me all the fields. So if beside the field type, it shows the relationship field also. Look up is the relationship field. It shows you the name of the parent also. Right? So here, don't try to compare it with Oracle or any other database, because the system that it has come is different, but overall relationship part is exactly the same. The way it looks in the front end might be different. You might not be able to see a structure of all the tables here. That is also possible. That also comes, but I'm not getting into that part. But whenever you are creating a relationship, that information is available here. So it's a relationship field. It's connected to the parent. That's it. Anyone else has any confusion?
It doesn't give a particular column name or anything, the field name.
This is the name of the field. Field name is what you give. Here there is nothing it has to be the same field name and all. This is what you give. This is the object name. This is the name of the table. This is the name of the field.
Okay. So this field name is not showing in the table, right? Like if you go back to that Excel spreadsheet, this column name does not exist in the sheet, right?
That is the reason why label is there.
Okay.
See, difference between label and name, that is what we were discussing in the last session, right? Label is something which will be visible. Achha, on the spreadsheet you are talking about, right?
Yes.
Spreadsheet, so I have created these field labels only here. I have not written the names here. Spreadsheet is completely different. This is just something outside Salesforce I'm just doing for your reference and all.
Oh, okay.
But what you see on the interface, you also do not see this name, because this is used for doing the backend stuff. Do you want your end user to see this kind of a name or this name? End user should see
just
this
a label name. Label will be fine, right. Field name.
So the names also we have here. So everything is there. Fine. The object name is there. Okay. Field names are there. Relationship, data type, everything is here. We'll be able to figure out.
Okay.
Fine. All right.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Any other questions on this relationship thing? Okay. Now this was a pretty simple thing. We just figured out which is the parent, which is the child, and we created a relationship here. Okay. So I think a few of you are already aware of this thing. So what kind of a relationship this is? This is a one-to-many relationship, right? This is a one-to-many relationship that we created. One company is connected to multiple jobs. Then only we say, no, this is parent, this is child. So here creating this relationship was easy. So wherever you have this kind of a requirement of one-to-many, identify which is the child object, go to the child object, create the field, and it will connect to the parent. Easy. Now the second thing is, think of these two objects. Now I want to relate the job openings with the candidates also, right? Whenever a candidate applies for a job, I want to create a relationship there also. I want to understand which candidate applied for which job, or which job was applied by which candidate, right? So both the ways I want to understand. Now it will be difficult for you to figure out the parent and child here. If I have to create a relationship, these two things I want to relate. If the requirement says that, okay, these two should also be related, the jobs and candidates. Now I would just ask you all, tell me which is the parent, which is the child. Out of jobs and candidates, let's say I have in the jobs I have few jobs listed. Let's say Java developer, SFDC developer, and HTML developer, and under candidates I have Pawan, Biksham, Santosh, Nali. Let's say this is the kind of data we have in the system. Now, which one is going to be parent, which one is going to be child? Anyone? Can I make candidate as child? If candidate is child, then what will happen?
We can make it a candidate as a parent.
If the candidate is parent, then there can be multiple jobs connected to the same candidate, but
yes,
I cannot have one candidate applying for different jobs. If this is parent, it can have multiple jobs under his name.
Yes.
But one job cannot be applied by multiple candidates. If candidate is the parent, then Pawan can go ahead and apply for Java developer, SFDC developer, HTML developer, right? But
yes,
Java developer will be applied only by Pawan. Then Biksham cannot go and apply for the Java developer job. So that is something which we do not need, we don't want, right? So this is a situation. Whenever you come to a situation where you feel that okay, fine, none of them is a parent. You want a one-to-many relationship from this side as well as this side. You want a one-to-many same job. You want this side as well as this side. Same job. Okay. So same job. There should be multiple candidates who apply for the same job, which means this should be parent, this should be child. At the same time, I also want the same candidate to apply for multiple jobs, which means this should be parent, this should be child. Okay. So this is called a many-to-many relationship. So here you cannot define a one-to-many. This is called a many-to-many relationship. So in many-to-many, what we need to do, we need to establish a relationship which can hold this many-to-many. So one-to-many relationship creation was pretty easy. You just had to go to the child object and create the field. Now because here there is no child, neither this is child nor this is child, what do you have to do? Very simple. Because we do not have a clearly defined child object here, we will just go and create a child object. Because we do not know which is the child, we will create a third object which will be child of both these objects, and that third object will hold the relationships. Got it? So let's say we create another object called application. We have this candidate object and we have this jobs object, but one candidate, let's say Pawan, can apply for Java developer only once, right? So the applications are going to be unique, right? So you can create a third object, call it job application, connect it to the job and connect it to the candidate. So let's say, so the entry here will be, let's say Java developer Pawan, HTML developer Pawan. So who applied for which job? So this application job is going to be the child. Okay, and this child object that we create between two different objects for this many-to-many relationship, this is also called as a junction object. So this is called the junction object. Fine. The junction object is basically used for tracking the relationships. So junction object is designed whenever you have the requirement of many-to-many relationship. You create a third object which is called junction object, and you need to make this junction object as a child of both the objects, which means it will have a relationship with, so there will be a relationship field which will relate this junction object to the jobs, and it will also have a relationship with candidates. So these two fields are required here. So because I cannot create a many-to-many relationship directly between these two objects, I'm not able to find out who is the parent and who is the child. So what we do is we create a child object which is a common child object, and this is technically called junction object. You can give a functional name to this, okay, and just give it a name and make it a child of both the parent objects. So create two relationship fields on this. Got it? Simple thing. Okay, so let's go and create a junction object here. We'll call it job application. So let me go to setup. Create objects. What object we need to create? Application. Okay, you don't want to give a name here. In this case, we will not put a name for the application. Instead, we will put a automatically generated number, auto number. So call it application ID, and we will make it auto number. So what is an auto number? Auto number is a system generated number. So you just have the option of defining the format and start number, and system will keep on generating a new auto number for every record. Let's say this is the format you want. So this will keep on increasing. This whatever you have in curly brackets will keep on increasing, and this will be the static part, application part. So whatever you have outside the curly bracket is the static part of this auto number. What you have within the brackets 0 0 0 0, this will keep on increasing. So you want to start it from 1. So any such transaction thing, like this application is a transaction and you might not have a very clearly defined name. So in these kind of objects, you can, instead of using a name field, you can use the ID. Because you might not be able to, it will be difficult for you to define a name for each application. So let it be an application ID, auto number. Save it. Okay, so I've created the junction object, right? So what I have to do now, I just have to make sure that I make this junction object. This is now, as of now, this is just a simple object. What I have to do, I just have to make sure that I create this as a child of both these objects, job and consultant. So for that, what I have to do, I just have to create two fields here. Both of them should be relationship fields. Make it a child of the job. Click on next. Related to job object. Click on next. You need to relate it to one more. We can have to relate it to the candidate object. Done. So these two fields are required on the junction object. So whenever you are creating a junction object which should hold relationship, it should have a relationship field for both the parent objects, right? It should be related to both the parents. So that is what we have done. We have made it a child of candidate. We have also made it a child of job. So through this junction object, these two objects are going to be related. You can also put other fields. Let's say you want to, for application, you want to have other custom fields also, like application date. So just go ahead and create it. Those two are, required, and other fields also, if you want, you can create. So let's say you want to track the date of application also.
Are you sharing the screen? Are you not seeing it?
Do you see it now?
Yes.
So we have created a third object, this application object, which has we have created this application object which has the relationship field with both the parent objects, the job and the candidates object. So this is the junction object. So junction object is again, just a terminology that you need to understand. This is something used to refer to these kind of objects, but you don't have to go and create a special type of object called junction object. This is also a simple object like all other objects. The fields, everything is same. Junction object is something that we call it, and you have to make sure that whenever you have this kind of an object, you make it a child of both the parent objects, right? So if I go to my Excel spreadsheet and I have to update this, so these fields are already there, the standard fields. And then I have made one application ID. This is also the standard. After this, whatever fields we have created, candidate, job. So this is a lookup, and this is also a lookup. So relationship fields, and then date of application. This is a date field. Got this thing? So now there is this junction object which is done. If you go and create a job record, through application you can connect this job with multiple candidates. So let me see, let me say we have these candidates. Let us put some data into this. So let me have some data. So we have entered some dummy data into this. So we have 3 candidates here, and let's also create a few more jobs one we have. Let's create one more. It's from the same client. Alright, so we have a list of jobs here, 1, 2, 3, 4 jobs listed here. We also have list of candidates here, 1, 2, 3, right? So we have list of jobs and we have list of candidates here. Then what we need to do, we just need to create, let's say for this particular job, Android developer, I receive application from Sonali on 24th of July. Also receive an application from Diksham on 26th of July. So you have multiple applications here, and this application is related to one candidate. That is how this many-to-many is working, right? Same way, if you go to the record or the candidate can apply for other job also. So now Sonali is connected to the Android developer thing. Here we can also put her to connect to Java developer. Let's say she applied for Java developer job on 30th of July. Got that? So we are clear on this many-to-many relationship. How do we create many-to-many relationship? The junction object part of it. Okay. So there are two types of relationships that we will deal with. One is the one-to-many relationship, which is very simple to create. You just need to identify which is the child and go and create a relationship field on the side. The other type is the many-to-many relationship, where you have to find out, where you have to create a junction object or a third object and make that junction object as the child of both the parent objects. So you'll have to make it a child. You have to create two relationship fields there, one connecting to each of the parent object. So that will help you create this many-to-many relationship. Okay. Now there is a small thing that Salesforce has given. If you noticed while we went to this relationship field thing, there are two field types, two relationship field types, right? Relationship field is a field type only, right? That is what we have seen here so far. We are choosing the lookup, but there is another option for relationship field type, that is master detail relationship. right? So how is this master detail different from the lookup? It's very simple. If you go to this field type, you'll be able to see what is the difference between the lookup and the master detail. It will show it to you there. So go to any object, just click on new custom field. Okay, so these are the two relationship field types, right? We have been selecting the first one. I told you we will understand what is the next one, what is this master detail relationship a little later. So now, because you are clear with the concept of relationship, now we can talk about what is this master detail relationship, right? This is the lookup is a general kind of a relationship, okay? Master detail relationship is a special type of relationship. So what is special here? These 4 points. Okay, what? First is the relationship field is always required, which means you always have to populate a value for the relationship field. In case there is a, you have created a master detail relationship, you always have to define a parent record. It always has to be associated with a parent record. So this relationship field will be always a required field. However, in the lookup that was not the case. So for whatever relationships we have lookup relationships, right? So let's go and see this jobs. Jobs has a lookup relationship with the companies, right? But it is not a required field. If you look into here, you may or may not provide a company name here, but still it will allow you to save the record. But if it was a master detail relationship, then you required this would have become a required field by default. Fine. So if it's a master detail, parent field will be always required. Second is the ownership and sharing of a detailed record are determined by the master record, which means sharing and all those things. So we have not yet talked, so don't get into that. One thing that you have to understand, we have owners for all the records. There's a record owner, right? If you see, every record has a record owner. But in case you create a master detail relationship, then the child record will not have any owner. This owner field will not be there. Whenever we are creating an object, we are saying that there is one owner field which is by default created, right? See, record owner. But the moment you create a master detail relationship, the child record will not have any owner. Okay, this owner field will be removed from here. So then what happens? Then who is the owner? Owner of the parent record, but by default becomes the owner of the child record also. Got it? So that is the second special criteria of the master detail. So master detail relationship, child records do not have their owners. By default, owner of their parent records are the owners of those records also. Okay. In master detail, what happens when a user deletes the master record or the parent record, all detailed child records are deleted. So that is what happens in a master detail relationship. Whenever the user deletes the parent record, child records are deleted by default. Okay, so you do not have an option of retaining the child and only deleting the parent. However, in lookup you have that option. You can delete the parent, you can retain a child. In master detail, there is no such option. In case you have created a master detail relationship, you will be able to use roll-up summary fields also. Now, what is a roll-up summary? Roll-up summary field is a field type which you see here. You see this? Okay. This is a read-only field that displays the sum, minimum or maximum value of a field in a related list or the record count of all records listed in the related list. Okay. You will not understand this thing, what they have mentioned here. Pretty complex language. But roll-up summary is a field that you can create on the parent. Try to understand this. It's a field which can be created on the parent, and this field can automatically summarize the child records. Fine. Let's say you want to get a count of how many job openings you have from a particular company. So you can create a field on the company object which can do a summary of all the child records under that company and give you a roll-up summary. So that is what a roll-up summary field is. But this roll-up summary field is available to you only if you have created a master detail. If the relationship is a master detail, then only roll-up summary can be done. If it's a lookup relationship, then the roll-up summary cannot be done. Fine. So this roll-up summary field will not work if it's a lookup relationship. Got this thing? So this is the difference between our lookup and the master detail relationship. So for the time being, till the time you are not very confident on the master detail thing, you will gradually understand this, that certain places you will have this kind of requirement, that you don't want the child records to have owner, you want the child to be deleted always with the parent, you want a roll-up summary, you want the child record, you want the parent field to be required always. Those kind of situations you can create master detail relationship. For now, till the time you are not very confident on where you need to create a master detail or a lookup, you can create a lookup relationship. Fine. So for the time being, work with the lookup relationship, and eventually you will start realizing that, okay, fine, here I need a master detail relationship. Let me go and put this. Okay. Got that? This thing. There is one more thing for the master detail relationship. In a master detail relationship, you cannot have a standard object as the child. Standard object, we know the objects which have been provided by Salesforce, right? So any of the standard object from Salesforce cannot be the child in the master detail relationship. It can only be parent, or it can only be parent, or you have to use a lookup relationship, right? You cannot create a standard object as the child in the master detail relationship. That's not possible. So, or in other words, let me say this, that this master detail relationship field is available only on the custom objects. You cannot create a master detail relationship field on the standard object. Okay. So this master detail relationship thing is fine. So we have related these objects, we have connected the jobs with the companies, and we have also connected the candidates and the jobs. So job and companies was a one-to-many, jobs and candidates is a many-to-many relationship, right? We have also seen the master detail relationship concept. Let me know if you have any question on the relationship part. I think one of you was trying to ask a question. Anyone has any question here?
Anyone has any question here? Yeah, Jeet, can we change the data type of...
Santosh, I think you are on mute. You have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I was asking that can we change the data type of the fields? Can you just go to one of the fields of an object, and if you click on edit, does it give an option of changing the data type?
You can change the data type, but you cannot change it from anything to anything, right? So some options will be available. Just go to one of the objects. Let's say this is a pick list. So from pick list you can go to the other field type. Click on change field type. So a few other options are available here. But from pick list, if you say I want to go to relationship, that will not happen, right? You can either go to an auto number and these things. So that is the thing. From a relationship, you cannot say that, okay, fine, from a relationship field, I will straight away go to a text field, right? So either you change the field type within this block, or the relationship you can change from lookup to master detail or master detail to lookup. So that is.
Okay, yeah. And could you please explain that the last thing that you had explained, that you can't have master detail relationship for standard objects? I didn't quite get it.
Yeah, so you cannot create a master detail relationship field on a standard object. You can only create it on the custom objects. So we understand what is standard object and what is custom object, right? Standard objects are the Salesforce created objects, and custom objects are the objects that you have created. So if you are working with standard objects, you do not have an option of creating a master detail relationship. So that is the thing. If you want to create a master detail relationship on the standard account object, you cannot do that. So Salesforce does not allow you to create that. Yeah, so this master detail relationship field can be created only on the custom objects, the objects that you have created, right? So that is what.
Okay, so when we try to customize the standard objects, in that customization, this option is not available.
Not available. So if you want to create a master detail relationship field on a standard object, you cannot do that. So that makes your job a little more easier. What you need to understand here is that, see, when you are creating a relationship, you have two options, lookup and master detail, right? And then you think of which one we should take and not. Today you might not be able to understand. The moment you start, taking up scenarios and think on those, gradually you will understand where to use the lookup and where to use the master detail. So that gradually you get to know. But an easier way to figure out is if you are working on a standard object, then there is no point of master detail. So that does not come there. So that's fine. You are pretty confident that there is just one option, and let me go ahead with this, right? All right. Yeah.
One question.
Yeah.
When you say relationship is not available, master detail relationship is not available for standard objects, you were also saying a point where you can have your standard object as the parent in a master child relationship. Is that true now?
No. Tell me again.
Your standard object can be a parent object in a master detail relationship.
It can be. It can be.
Can be, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and one more question is, you were saying like in master detail relationship, you said that the owner of the child record will always be the owner of the parent.
The other way around. The other way around. Owner of the parent will be the owner of the child.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. The other way around. So why is that? What's the advantage of having like that? Like, let's say today I created the parent record, and someone else created the child record. But still my name goes in as the owner of the child record. So what's the advantage of that, having rules in such a way, or having the design in such a way?
See, there is no advantage or disadvantage, there is the requirement, right? So sometimes you require this kind of a scenario where you don't want to have individual owners for the child records, right? The child record is such a minute thing that the parent will only take care of those things. Okay. So that case, it should be a master detail. And if in case you need that kind of a, in case you have a requirement that you want to have separate owners for the child record, then you should go with the lookup relationship, right? So based on the scenario, we will have to choose. Let me give you a very simple example. Let's say, I'm just using a very simple example. Let's say you generate an invoice, okay? In that invoice, you have sold 10 things. One invoice, you are selling 10 things, 10 items, 10 line items on one invoice, right? So will there be any situation or any scenario in this world that you might want to have different owners for those, different line items or different entities which have appeared on that invoice? No. Because the person who is creating the invoice, this is such a small thing, and the entries which are coming under that are such a small things that you don't want to, unnecessarily have one field blocked for it. Right, you just want the parent of the invoice to be the parent of those line items under the invoice. So that can be a requirement. Other side, you can have relationship like the companies and the jobs. So this is a slightly bigger thing. Here you can have one person, let's say Ram Krishna is the person who looks after TCS. He's the point of contact for TCS as a whole, but he is not the person who is responsible for all the job openings that we have for TCS. So once he gets once we get an opening, some jobs are looked after by Santosh, some of them are looked after by me. So this is slightly a bigger requirement here. The child records are slightly reasonable in size, and you might have that requirement of having different owners. So it's not about the advantage or disadvantage. It's more about the requirement, the kind of requirement that we have, right? So that is where we will use the master detail, and this is where we will use the lookup. Got that?
Yeah, got it.
So I have a question. So at any given point of time, can we switch the type of relationship that we have created? Let's say initially we thought of just as a master detail, and after a given point of time, we got the need of having a more generic one for a lookup. So can we switch over?
Yeah, we can do that. The only thing is that switching from master detail to lookup is easy, okay, because master detail is a special thing. So switching from special to generic is easier. That can be easily done. But switching from lookup to master detail, you have to make sure that all the records have the values populated. So in case there are, I told you, right, in lookup the parent field is not required. So if there are certain child records without the parent, then it will not allow you to do that. Then it will say go ahead and populate the values of all the parents, then only we will create. Because otherwise the child will not get the owner, right? So for that reason, switching from lookup, you can do either way, but switching from master detail to lookup is easier. You don't have to do anything, you just have to say switch and it will switch. Switching from lookup to master detail will be a bit of a challenge, where it will ask you to populate the values for all the parent fields. In case there are certain records with no parent field value, it will ask you to populate, and then you can do that.